I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be living together changes everything. And then throw some kids in there in the mix, and then a house payment and pets. See how easy, or I should say, how hard it is to have a balanced life where everything goes smoothly, because it just totally changed the equation. Because I've dated a lot of women that have had kids over the years, and when you get into a long-term relationship with them, not only are you dating the mother, but obviously you've got the children, and then you got things like soccer practice, ballet, and all those different things that kids tend to do. And so you've got those additional activities in addition to trying to keep in touch with your friends and your family and have time to spend time alone with your significant other. It really completely changes everything. So I got a quote that I'd like to share with you. And this is one I wrote down earlier today. And it says, "You cannot give away what you do not have for yourself. If you feel you're still lacking and do not have enough to fill up your own cup, that makes it almost impossible to give to another to fill up their cup, or the cup of self-esteem of your children and those who depend upon you." There's another great quote. This one's by Alvin Price. He says, "Parents need to fill a child's bucket of self-esteem so high that the rest of the world can't poke enough holes to drain it dry." So let's jump into this guy's email. He says, "Hey Corey, my girlfriend and I moved in together 2 months ago, and we each have a kid from previous relationships that we had with us full time, except every other weekend. This makes for not much time for us, with a lot more spent focused on the kids and home life. And I've been conscious in my efforts for us to still hang out, have fun, and hook up, especially once a fortnight when we have a kid-free weekend, along with focusing on myself by swimming 3 mornings a week and maintaining lifting weights, although now modified to fit in with the kids after school activities." Yeah, like I said, if you've ever, because I've dated a lot of women that have had kids, and I've had long-term relationships with women that have kids, and so when you're in their life all the time, you become a father figure to them. I mean, it's amazing how kids change your life and they open your heart, and they really are. I mean, in my opinion, what I've learned in my own experience with children is I always felt that I tended to learn more from them than they did from me. And it's a great experience. I mean, it's a gift. It's an absolute gift if you get the honor of dating a woman that has a child and you get to be in their life and help raise them. I mean, it's always a challenge because they're always there, and especially like when they're little and they depend upon you for everything. It's like, it just reminds me as I'm sitting here talking, just numerous times. I remember one time I was on a trip with my girlfriend, and her daughter's in the next room, and we were in the bathroom having sex together, because it's like, where are you going to go when you're on a trip? I mean, it's like you can't really do it in the bedroom, because then you got to have the talk and explain to her what you're doing. And so it's like anytime you can just get like 20 minutes away and go in the bathroom. This particular time we end up forgetting to lock the door. I mean, so literally as we had just gotten our clothes back in, her daughter opens the door and she's like, "What are you guys doing in here?" I mean, if she'd just come in about 2 minutes earlier, she would have totally walked in and busted us, and obviously that would have been an interesting conversation, especially at her young age. But like I said, that's a challenge. You gotta deal with those kinds of things. It's like if you're in the bedroom having sex at night and they can't sleep, and they just come walking in your bedroom, and hell, they don't know any different. I mean, like I said, you got to be aware of these things. You got to be cognizant of these things. You start fooling around the couch, you can't just go at it on the couch, because obviously you don't want them walking in on you, and so it, like I said, it adds a whole new realm of, because not only are you focused on your relationship with your significant other, but obviously you got to take care of your kids, because small children, they're dependent on you for everything, for their school, help with their homework, making sure they're getting fed, make sure they go and take their showers when they're supposed to, make sure they clean up their rooms, getting to all their activities, their sports, or their after-school activities. I mean, it's like I said, it's really a challenge, and I really have a high level of respect, especially for women that are single mothers and they're raising their kids, because I've dated a lot of them over the years. And it really is tough to have a personal life and have a family and also still keep in touch with your friends and the people you grew up with, because like I said, it's like a full-time job in itself, raising children. So he said things are great and our kid-free weekends where the focus is only on us. He says, however, during the next 2 weeks it seems that her level of attraction declines until the next time we have time for us. He says, I notice this because I hear less and less from her during the weeks via email, text message, less frequent I love yous. She says bye from the door instead of coming to give me a kiss. And in the evening when I get home and ask her how her day was, and I have to work a little bit more to get her started talking as the week goes on. Yeah, because it's a challenge to get her to open up, because especially like if she's spending a lot more time with the kids and raising the kids, which a lot of women do in this world, she's going to tend to be a little bit more tired, a little bit more worn out. And so that's why it's really will be helpful to your relationship that as far as like the dating goes and the courtship goes, you handle all of those particular details. Raising children is a team effort. You're there to help each other grow and become more. You're there to love one another, and that includes loving the kids and making them feel loved and supported and appreciated. You're there to help them with their homework and do all things of that nature. But like I said, it adds a whole new dimension of challenges in there. And so you've got to stay dedicated to it, because it's so easy to get lazy and complacent. Just go, oh fuck, I'm so tired. We were up early, going to school, picking them up, getting them done with the homework, getting them all their their sports practices and stuff, and then getting them in bed. You just want to go to sleep, and you're like, oh fuck it, we'll do something together this weekend. It's so easy to do that. When I coach people that are having trouble in their long-term relationships, that's what happens, because it's a slow process, and it's not something like happens overnight. It's this kind of thing that you just slowly over time start doing less and less. You're not making the effort to make those little sweet notes that tell your lover what you love about them and leaving them behind in strategic places where they find them when you're not around. It's like after you've been together for a long time, that's the challenge. That's the challenge, to always do those things and plan those things out, because like I said, when you're physically worn down and tired, it's really a lot harder, and that's when you really got to stay dedicated and realize that in order for the relationship to continue to grow and to continue to blossom, you have to continue to do the things that caused her to fall in love with you in the first place. You still got to maintain your friendships, because you fell in love because you came together to share your completeness. You weren't there to complete one another. And what I see a lot of times as a coach is a lot of people in their relationships, it's like slowly over time they stop going to the gym as much. Because they're always rushing around, they don't really eat as healthy, and they tend to eat more fast food kind of stuff. They don't get as much sleep because obviously they're always running around, and it's always taking time for themselves and their significant other, because the kids a lot of times tend to come first before everything. And then before you know it, 6 months go by, and where you might have been having sex every night, then you're on the routine, you realize, fuck, we're only having sex like twice a month. And like I said, it's not something that happens like clicking your thumbs together or your fingers together. It's something that happens slowly over time. It just kind of grows that way. It's kind of like the analogy of putting a frog in a pot of water. It's like if you slowly turn up the heat, the frog will just stay in there and he'll slowly boil to death. But if you throw a frog in a pot of boiling water, he'll jump right out of it. And so, like I said, that is the challenge in long-term relationships that I found personally in my own life, is doing those little things that caused her to fall in love with you when you got together in the first place. The challenge is to continue to find creative ways to do that long-term. And what's helpful is to look at it and think, okay, what are the consequences? What happens if I don't take 5 minutes to find a cool place for my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I, to go to dinner when we don't have the kids this weekend, or just to take a little bit of time to plan something out. Especially like if she's spending more time shuttling the kids to and from school and things of that nature. She doesn't want to mess with plans and details. She wants to take a shower, look hot, and just show up and have a great time because she's pretty much worn out. And so what you're seeing here is that your girlfriend is kind of shutting down to you, and you're able to open her up, but you're noticing that it's taking work to do that. That's why it's important to have a really good, healthy line of communication where you sit down and you have discussions like once a week, and you ask a simple question like, hey, honey, how was I on a scale of 1 to 10? How was I as a boyfriend this week? And if she says, well, you were a 7, it's like, great. Well, I appreciate the honest feedback. So what would I have done differently over the past week in order for you to have said that I was a 10? And then just take it as honest, constructive criticism, and then endeavor to do those things the following week. Because in order to stay vigilant, you've got to have good communication when you're talking every week about these things and you're getting feedback, and you're making sure, this is really important, that when you tell your girl you're going to do something, that you do it. Because it really creates a lot of problems, because when you tell your girlfriend or your wife that you're going to do something, whether it's taking out the garbage or cleaning out the garage, whatever it happens to be, and then you don't do it, it causes her to feel like she can't trust your masculine core. And the more a woman feels like she can't trust your masculine core, the more she's going to move into her masculine. And when a woman moves into her masculine, she's not going to feel as sexy and as attractive, and she's going to be less apt to get her nails done and get her hair done and to go to the gyms and put her makeup on and look hot for you and do all those things, because she doesn't feel beautiful. Because in essence, what's happening is she's kind of having to move into her masculine and make up for the fact that you're not taking care of things that you need to be taken care of in the relationship. So he says, this is also the first time that I've lived with someone in the last 4 years, and I do feel a little out of place, as it's not only my own space anymore. It's like, yeah, you can't decide, you know what, it's Sunday, I'm going to sit in front of the TV and eat junk food all day, because obviously in your case, there's 3 other people in your household that you've got to think about. So he says, when the kids go to bed, I feel somewhat lost, as when I was living by myself, I would normally watch TV, play guitar, do my laundry, and basically me-only activities. Yeah, it's like you have a partnership. You're a team. And so it's like when you want to do something now, you've got to involve your girlfriend. If you just go making decisions like, hey, I'm going to basketball practice, honey. See you later. She's like, well, what about dinner? It's like, oh, I'll handle some leftovers when I get home. And you walk out the door, she's going to be pissed when you get home. He says, on one hand, I think it'd be good to keep doing this so that we have some time to ourselves to allow the attraction to build. Though the other, I feel like I'm ignoring her if we didn't spend the small amount of time that we have after the kids go to bed together. And that's important. It's you've got that time that you do have together, got to make it quality time. And that's your time to sit and talk and open her up and get her to talk about her day. And when she gets to that point where she feels like she's shared everything that she wanted to share, when she sighs and she goes, oh, I'm so glad we talked, honey. I feel so much better. And it's like whatever built up during the day, whatever tension built up during the day, since you are her rock and her mountain and you communicate with her, like I talk about in my book, you're able to open her up, and that makes her feel more sexy. That makes her feel comfortable trusting your masculine core and letting you be the leader and lead the relationship and lead the family where you want it to go. And if you are handling those things and you're saying what you mean and you mean what you say and you follow through on those things, so she'll trust you to open up more. And even though she might feel tired as shit, she'll put that sexy Victoria's Secret outfit on her. She'll put the makeup on her, or she'll find a half hour to go to the gym and do those kinds of things, because it's all about making the little effort here and there. Where it comes everything across the board. It's about having balance in every area of your life. And if you do the little things, because women watch a man's actions, and that's what I see most in long-term relationships is guys stop courting their girl long-term. And so in other words, they stop doing the things that caused her to fall in love, and so they slowly will fall out of love, and that's what creates the problems in a relationship long term. So if you'd like to get my help personally, go to my website right now, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a paid phone coaching session. I'll talk to you soon.